Too many people spend their entire lives looking left and right, trying to measure their progress by someone else's pace. But let me tell you something straight from the heart. Comparison is the thief of destiny. The moment you stop chasing validation and start cultivating transformation, that's the moment everything begins to shift in your favor. Because life doesn't reward distraction, it rewards direction. So I came to tell somebody today, when you finally make the decision to focus on you, your growth, your mindset, your discipline, your divine purpose, everything that seemed out of place will suddenly begin to fall into place. See, when you focus on yourself, you activate a spiritual law. The Bible says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. That means if you get the inside right, the outside will align automatically. But most people are so busy fixing everything outside of them that they never stop to fix what's going on within them. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you're inconsistent, you'll attract confusion. If you're disciplined, you'll attract opportunities. If you're faithful, doors will open that no man can shut. The problem is, we've been programmed to think focusing on ourselves is selfish. But let me ask you, how can you pour into others when your own cup is empty? How can you lead a team, raise a family, or build a business when you're not even aligned with your purpose? You can't give what you don't have. So stop feeling guilty for working on your mind, your body, your faith, your finances. Because the more whole you become, the more impact you can create. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs the full expression of you. You see, most people spend their entire lives chasing results while ignoring the one thing that controls every result they'll ever produce: their mindset. You can't win the game of life if you haven't yet learned to master the inner game. Because success doesn't start with money, followers, or fame. It starts with how you think, how you speak to yourself, and how you see the world. The external is nothing more than a reflection of the internal. You can't plant negative thoughts and expect positive outcomes. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. If your mind is full of doubt, fear, and scarcity, your life will mirror that vibration. But when you renew your thoughts, when you reprogram your belief system, you unlock the flow of power, creativity, and purpose that has been waiting inside you all along. Every successful person you admire, every leader, every entrepreneur, every trailblazer didn't start with perfect conditions. They started with a decision to transform their inner world until their outer world had no choice but to follow. Because you can't lead others until you learn to lead yourself. You can't demand excellence from your team if you tolerate mediocrity in your own habits. Life is a mirror. It reflects what you project. That's why the moment you start mastering your inner game, your relationships improve, your business grows, and your peace multiplies. The problem isn't that life is unfair. The problem is that we're often unprepared internally to receive the blessings we're praying for externally. The real battle is not around you, it's within you. It's that voice that tells you you're not enough, that you should quit. That success is for other people. But let me remind you, every champion you've ever seen once had to silence that same voice. They had to choose faith over fear, vision over excuses, and growth over comfort. The greatest fight you'll ever win is the one against your own limiting beliefs. Because once your mindset shifts, your life has no choice but to shift with it. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they change their attitude. But winners reverse that order. They change their attitude first, and circumstances begin to align with that new energy. When you carry the mindset of a conqueror, you start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start seeing lessons where others see losses. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. That's what mastering the inner game looks like. It's not about controlling what happens to you. It's about controlling what happens in you. Here's the truth. You cannot build $1 million business with a minimum wage mindset. You cannot expect greatness when you're still thinking like a victim. Transformation doesn't begin when your environment changes. It begins when your mentality does. If you can renew your mind, you can rewrite your destiny. Every thought you think is either building your future or breaking your focus. So you must guard your mind like the vault it is. Don't let fear, gossip, or negativity rent space in your head. Evict every thought that doesn't serve your purpose. Replace it with gratitude, belief, and boldness. Because when your thoughts align with your faith, your actions align with your results. And let's be honest, mastering the inner game is not a one-time event, it's a daily discipline. Every day, you're either training your mind to rise or allowing it to drift back into comfort. Every morning you wake up, you have two choices: to feed your faith or feed your fear. Whichever one you feed becomes your master. So feed the right one, because your mind is the command center of your destiny. What you think, you attract. What you expect, you manifest. And what you believe, you become. So if you truly want everything to fall into place, stop focusing on fixing the outside world and start mastering the inside world. Build mental muscles of gratitude, focus, and resilience. Speak life into your goals even when you can't see the evidence yet. Move with faith even when logic says it's impossible. Because when the inner game is strong, the outer game becomes unstoppable. The world around you will always rise to meet the level of your inner growth. That's not just motivation. That's a universal law. When your mind becomes prosperous, your life cannot remain poor. Discipline is the difference between people who dream about success and those who live in it. Everybody wants the result, but few are willing to respect the process. The truth is, desire will get you started, but discipline will keep you moving when the excitement fades. And that's the gap where most people quit, right between inspiration and consistency. You can't build a strong life on weak habits. You can't expect divine favor when you refuse to practice daily discipline. Because discipline is the proof that you're serious about your destiny. It's the bridge that connects vision to manifestation. And the moment you start walking across that bridge, life begins to reward you for your commitment. See, people love to talk about motivation, but motivation is temporary. It's emotional, it's fleeting, it depends on how you feel. But discipline is spiritual, it's rooted in decision, not emotion. You might not feel like waking up early, you might not feel like working out, you might not feel like studying or praying or building, but discipline doesn't negotiate with feelings. It acts on commitment. The people who win in life aren't the ones who always feel inspired. They're the ones who learn to move even when they didn't, because discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. When you're disciplined, you send a signal to the universe and to God that you can be trusted with more. Discipline says, I'm ready for increase. It tells your future, you can rely on me. Every act of discipline is a seed that produces a harvest of favor later. You can't pray for elevation and live with lazy habits. You can't ask for multiplication when you're still mishandling the small things. The Bible says, he who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. That's not just a verse. That's a formula for success. If you stay consistent with the little, God will make you ruler over much. But discipline isn't glamorous. It's not supposed to be. It's repetitive, it's lonely, and most of the time it feels invisible. While others are partying, you're preparing. While they're relaxing, you're refining. And people won't understand it, not until the results show up. That's why you can't live for their approval. You have to live for your assignment. Discipline is doing what's right long before it's recognized. It's staying focused on your purpose when distractions are screaming for your attention. It's saying no to comfort so you can say yes to calling. You see, discipline builds credibility with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you follow through, even when it's inconvenient, your belief strengthens. And soon your brain begins to trust your word. That's how self-esteem is built, not from compliments, but from consistency. Most people don't lack confidence, they lack follow through. When you say you'll do something and actually do it, you start building the kind of inner strength that no external validation can replace. Let's be real, discipline requires sacrifice. But the price of discipline is always cheaper than the cost of regret. You can pay now with consistency or pay later with excuses, but either way, you'll pay. So choose the payment that compounds. Because while talent might open the door, discipline keeps you in the room. The world is full of gifted people who never fulfilled their potential simply because they couldn't stay committed long enough to see their vision manifest. The disciplined version of you will accomplish things the distracted version never could. There's a saying I love, success doesn't happen by chance, it happens by change. And change requires discipline. It requires you to push past comfort, past fatigue, past the voice in your head that says, take it easy. Every great man or woman who has ever built something significant has wrestled with that same voice. But the disciplined don't listen to it, they lead it. They train their emotions to follow their principles. Because when discipline becomes your lifestyle, success becomes your default. So understand this. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're rewriting your destiny. Every day you stay committed, you're proving to yourself that greatness isn't about what you do once. It's about what you do consistently. Discipline turns ordinary people into extraordinary examples. It transforms potential into power. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun, but it's always worth it. Because when you live with discipline, you stop chasing opportunities. Opportunities start chasing you. Your energy is your most valuable currency, yet most people spend it like loose change. They give it away to arguments that don't matter, to people who drain them, to distractions that destroy focus. But here's the truth. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must learn to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Every thought you entertain, every conversation you engage in, every environment you step into either fuels your power or fractures it. You cannot build a kingdom with a depleted spirit. The reason so many people feel stuck isn't because they lack potential. It's because they've allowed too many energy leaks to go unchecked. When you learn to guard your peace, you begin to multiply your power. Energy is not just physical, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's the invisible force that determines how you show up in the world. If your energy is low, your vision becomes blurry. You start doubting yourself, delaying action, and disconnecting from purpose. But when your energy is high, you operate in clarity, conviction, and confidence. You begin to move like a person who knows they're chosen. That's why one of the greatest skills you can ever develop is learning who and what deserves access to your energy. Because not everyone qualifies for proximity. Some people are meant to be loved from a distance. Some conversations are meant to be left unanswered. Some environments are meant to be outgrown. You can't keep revisiting old versions of yourself and expect to step into a new level of destiny. When you focus on yourself, you become selective about your surroundings. You start to notice the difference between what feeds your spirit and what starves it. You stop attending every emotional battle you're invited to. You stop arguing to be understood and start prioritizing your peace. Because peace is not a reward. It's a requirement for progress. You can't think clearly when your mind is cluttered with noise. You can't hear divine direction when you're surrounded by constant distraction. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It's sacred stewardship. It's how you honor the gift of purpose God placed inside you. There's a reason eagles fly alone. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. They understand that not everyone can handle high altitude. The air gets thinner, the pressure increases, and most can't survive that level of focus. Likewise, when you start elevating your standards, you'll notice your circle getting smaller. That's not loss. That's alignment. Because when you decide to rise, you naturally repel anything that vibrates lower than your new frequency. Growth is magnetic to what matches it and repellent to what doesn't. So if you feel like certain people are drifting away, don't chase them. Bless them, release them, and keep ascending. Protecting your energy also means setting boundaries, not from a place of bitterness, but from a place of balance. You can't say yes to everything and expect to have enough left to build your dream. Every yes costs you something. It costs you time, focus, and emotional bandwidth. That's why your yes must be expensive and your no must be powerful. Learn to say no without explaining, without guilt, without apology. Because every time you say yes to someone else's agenda, you may be saying no to your own destiny. Boundaries are not barriers, they're filters. They keep the wrong energy out so the right energy can flow in. And let's be real, there will be people who won't understand your need for space. They'll call it pride, arrogance, or selfishness. But don't let their misunderstanding make you abandon your clarity. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. You owe yourself the discipline to maintain it. When you guard your energy, you start operating from overflow instead of exhaustion. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving and start creating. Your presence becomes more powerful because your energy is no longer scattered, it's focused. The most successful people in the world don't just manage their time, they master their energy. They understand that energy, once wasted, can't be reclaimed, so they invest it wisely in growth, in purpose, in people who add value. They don't chase noise, they cultivate stillness. Because stillness is where strategy is born. When your energy is aligned, your decisions become sharper, your creativity deeper, your confidence unshakable. You move differently, you speak differently, you attract differently. Because your energy tells the world what to expect from you long before you ever open your mouth. So protect it like it's sacred, because it is. The moment you stop giving discounts on your energy, life will start paying you full price in peace, purpose, and prosperity. We live in a world where everyone wants to be seen, where people crave applause before they've even built a foundation strong enough to hold their vision. But true success is never born in the spotlight. It's crafted in silence. The ones who rise to greatness are the ones who understand that private progress always precedes public recognition. When you're focused on your growth, you don't need to broadcast every step you take. You don't need validation when you already have vision. Because the seed doesn't need an audience to grow. It only needs soil, water, and time. And while others are busy performing for attention, you're preparing for acceleration. There's something powerful about working in silence. It teaches you patience, discipline, and humility. It strips away the ego that wants to be seen and strengthens the spirit that's being shaped. You don't have to announce every goal you're chasing. Let your results speak for you. Because the truth is, people may doubt what you say, but they can't deny what they see. When your progress becomes undeniable, your silence becomes your greatest statement. The ones who laughed will eventually watch, and the ones who watched will eventually wonder how you did it. That's the power of quiet consistency. It builds momentum that can't be measured until it manifests. The reason most people never reach their full potential is because they're addicted to validation. They want recognition before revelation. But when you understand that your process is sacred, you stop trying to prove yourself and start improving yourself. You learn that the preparation stage is not punishment, it's positioning. Every private hour of work, every unseen act of faith, every quiet moment of discipline is setting the stage for a public season of reward. God doesn't elevate noise, He elevates preparation. And while the world applauds performance, heaven rewards consistency. Think about this. When a builder lays a foundation, it's the most critical part of the entire structure, yet no one sees it. People only admire the finished building, but it's the unseen base beneath the ground that determines how high it can go. That's how your life works. If your foundation is weak, your success will crumble under pressure. But when your foundation is strong, when your values, mindset, and habits are in alignment, no storm can shake what you've built. So while others are rushing to show off the walls, take your time to reinforce your roots. Because the deeper your roots, the higher your rise. Progress in private also protects your purpose. When you're constantly sharing your moves, you invite unnecessary noise and distraction. Not everyone cheering for you is clapping for your success. Some are simply waiting to see if you'll fail. That's why wisdom says, move quietly, execute relentlessly, and let your outcomes make the announcement. Your progress doesn't need promotion. It needs protection. Protect your ideas until they're strong enough to stand. Protect your dreams until they can't be derailed by doubt. Protect your vision until it's so clear that no outside opinion can distort it. And don't confuse silence with stagnation. Just because no one sees your progress doesn't mean it's not happening. The most important growth happens underground, invisible, but essential. A seed spends months hidden before it breaks through the soil, but once it does, it grows faster than anyone expected. Your journey works the same way. You're not behind, you're being built. Every delay is developing your depth. Every unseen season is preparing you for visibility. Because when your moment comes, it will come fast and you'll be ready for it because you took time to prepare in private. So keep building even when no one's watching. Keep showing up even when nobody's clapping. The world may not see your effort now, but they'll feel your impact later. Your private discipline will become your public distinction. While others are busy talking, you'll be busy transforming. While they chase attention, you'll attract success. There's power in being the person who doesn't announce every move, but always delivers results. Because when your focus is on progress and not praise, the applause will eventually follow. But by then, you won't even need it. Your results will speak so loud that the noise of approval will simply become background music to your purpose. There's a certain kind of peace that comes when you stop chasing and start aligning. Most people are running after success like it's something hiding from them, but success was never meant to be hunted. It was meant to be attracted. The moment you align who you are with what you're called to do, life begins to unfold differently. Things that once felt forced begin to flow. Opportunities that seemed out of reach start to find their way to you. Because alignment does what hustle can't. It brings divine order to your chaos. You stop running in circles and start moving with purpose. You stop striving and start flowing. And that shift, that moment of inner harmony, is where real elevation begins. See, hustle is about grinding harder. Alignment is about growing wiser. Hustle burns energy, but alignment builds momentum. Hustle says, I have to make it happen. Alignment says, I'm becoming the person who makes it happen. There's a difference between chasing results and embodying readiness. When you're aligned, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, your effort multiplies because it's moving in rhythm with divine timing. You're no longer fighting the current, you're flowing with it. And that's when you realize something profound. Purpose has its own GPS. It knows where you're supposed to be, and it will reroute everything in your life to get you there when you're aligned with it. The problem is, too many people confuse motion with progress. They think being busy means being productive, but business without direction is just exhaustion in disguise. You can work 16-hour days and still not move forward if your actions aren't aligned with your assignment. Alignment brings clarity. It helps you see what truly matters and what's just noise. It helps you recognize which opportunities are divine doors and which are distractions dressed as blessings. When you're aligned, you stop saying yes out of fear and start saying yes out of faith. You stop chasing validation and start walking in conviction. Alignment doesn't mean you stop working hard. It means your work is guided by purpose. It's when your habits match your goals, your words match your faith, and your actions match your intentions. That's when everything begins to harmonize. Your relationships, your finances, your focus, your peace. Because when you're aligned, you attract what you're ready for. You stop forcing connections, forcing deals, forcing timelines. You let go of control and start trusting divine coordination. What's meant for you won't miss you, but you have to be in position to receive it. That position is called alignment. When you're aligned, you stop fighting battles that don't belong to you. You stop trying to convince people who aren't meant to understand your vision. You stop running after things that no longer fit who you're becoming. There's a deep confidence that comes from knowing you're walking in sync with something greater than yourself. You move differently. You speak with authority, you act with intention, and you no longer chase approval because you already have assignment. Alignment gives you access to peace in the middle of pressure, direction in the midst of delay, and strength in seasons of silence. Because you know that everything happening is working for you, not to you. And let's be real, alignment often requires adjustment. It's not always easy to let go of what once worked, to release old patterns, or to step away from people who can't grow with you. But you can't expect your life to fall into place if you're still holding on to what keeps you out of position. Every new level of purpose demands a new level of alignment. You can't carry yesterday's habits into tomorrow's calling. You can't operate in new blessings with old belief systems. You've got to recalibrate mind, body, and spirit. until everything inside you is moving in the same direction. When you start living in alignment, you no longer chase opportunities. Opportunities start chasing you. You begin to notice divine coincidences, the right people showing up, the right doors opening, the right timing unfolding, and you realize that it's not luck, it's alignment. It's the universe and your creator responding to your readiness. You no longer have to hustle to prove your worth. Your worth starts speaking for itself. Because when you are aligned with who you're meant to be, the world has no choice but to respond to that energy. You stop chasing outcomes and start becoming the outcome. You stop asking for blessings and start being the blessing. And when that happens, everything, every opportunity, every connection, every breakthrough begins to fall perfectly into place. So hear me when I say this. The greatest project you will ever work on is you. Don't wait for the world to validate you. Validate yourself by becoming the best version of who God created you to be. The moment you focus on yourself, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings will be drawn to your energy. You won't have to force it, fake it, or fight for it. It'll flow because when you're in alignment, everything else finds its rightful place. So today, I challenge you, stop chasing distractions, start chasing destiny. Fix the man or woman in the mirror, and you'll find that the world around you starts to rearrange itself in your favor. Because when you focus on yourself, everything, and I mean everything, begins to fall into place.